Hello, everybody. I'm very happy to see you after so many talks of inspirational insights and everything that we could hear during the speech today. And I would like to start with a question. And if you can relate to it, please raise a hand. So if you can say that you are 100% satisfied with your job that you do today, please raise a hand. Okay? Cool. And from those of you who raised your hand, could you tell that you've always felt this way? You've always been satisfied? Now I see nothing, no hands raised, and it's even worse than I thought, because according to studies, 85% of people globally are totally dissatisfied at their jobs that they do every day. It means that 85% of us are unhappy, like totally feeling undervalued. And there are a lot of factors that cause this feeling of dissatisfaction. It might be low pay, excessive workload, or lack of career development. And in fact, those 85% of people are they're in a kind of a darkness. They see no direction, no shadows, no shapes around. There is only darkness. The only thing that they know at this point is that they are haunted by many kind of monsters. Those monsters are many types, and those monsters are all the negative emotions that those people have in their work. And those people, like majority of them, they will never take a chance to get off this darkness. They will stuck there because they feel like they are scared to take a step. Because if they are in a darkness, it might mean that if they take a step, then they stumble and then they fall. And in fact, when they take a step, it means that those monsters can see them. They can start hunt them. They want to eat them or anything like this. And different kind of people will take a chance. They will try to change something. They will try to find a light switch, kind of a sword that they will just take and start fighting with the monsters. I was in that darkness too. I felt I was undervalued, demotivated, feeling unhappy at work. And one day, I felt I want to say, stop. I didn't want to feel that I'm unhappy at work. I didn't want to feel that I'm unhappy, because work is a huge part of our life. And instead of waiting for things to start happening, I wanted to take my future in my hands. So I just I left my job, I changed my profession, and I started to hunt those monsters that were chasing me. And I'm on Nojek. I'm UX UI designer at CD Projekt Red. And I'm also UX mentor and trainer, but I wasn't. I changed the profession. I changed my career when I changed where I felt like my life was going in a very bad direction. And I'm here because I would like you to feel the same way. Being proud and happy of what you do, being happy and satisfied of what you do at work, and maybe hyped about what you do, passionate about what you do. And drawing on my own experiences, I would like to show you how experiences drive you forward and backward, and why I decided to hunt down monsters for the living. And I just said that I left my job, that I changed the profession, that I just did it. That's it, like not a big deal. But in fact, it wasn't that easy, because changing something is a great step. You have to really go and push yourself out of your comfort zone. It's not convenient to change things that you are used to. And I felt stressed. I had a lot of doubts, and at one point in my life, I realized that I'm just, nervous and scared of making those changes, to change something. And I don't know what would happen if not a very great inspiration from my surrounding. My aunt, Grażyna. Grażyna was a person, our relative, who always came to our family meetings and always complained about her job. How dissatisfied she was, how much she bored at the job she was, everything negative. And frankly speaking, we're a bit bored with all those stories because she always repeated the same stories over and over again. But one day something changed. One day she came to us and she said, "Guys, that's the day. I will no longer work here." And we were so excited, surprised that she finally decided to change something. And she did. She retired. It only took her 40 years. 40 years of complaining about her job. 40 years of being unhappy. And shouldn't work be a happy part of our lives? It's the majority of our lives. I felt, Jesus, I don't want to be like Grażyna. And I hope that you all feel like you don't want to be in a place that you feel unhappy. And Grażyna had her monsters. Lack of self-confidence, lack of hope that she could do something about her fate, about her life. And as the work is the great part of our life, I realized I didn't want to wait. I wanted to do something about it. But Grażyna is the representative of majority of people who fear of taking a step in the darkness and change something. And I felt the same. I was scared. I was nervous. I felt, what if I can't make it? What if it is a big deal? What if it is too difficult to really change something about where I was? So I started to think, why and maybe where does this scare, this feeling of fear comes from? And due to my experience, there are two major sources of fear. First is our interactions with people. Imagine managers, those people who are very dependent on during your work life, because they give you the raises, they follow with every step of your career and so on. And sometimes those are the managers who just want to have power. They just want to rule. Those are, this bad type of managers, but there are a lot of them. And I used to have this kind of manager in my life. Let's imagine that her name was Dorota, because that was her name. I remember that I was in one of my previous jobs. I was a junior. I was employed as a junior, and I expected that as a junior I would have something like mentorship, or maybe somebody who would guide me, tell me what it is all about. But unfortunately, I did not have it. And apart from it, I was the only person doing my job. I was junior who had to run the whole department, and I got paid as a junior. And also, soon I realized that I also am responsible for onboarding of new employees. And I was like, seriously? I don't like it. And I'm quite overwhelmed. And we had a lot of deadlines. And I felt like I can't make it because it's too much. I needed somebody to help me with it. So I went to my manager and I said, Dorota, there's a problem. We have this deadline and I would really need some help from somebody who would support me. And she said, I think that this is your fault because you underdo. And I would be faster. Is it really that difficult to do things that you do? It's easy. I would do it. And I was like, yeah, so do it. No, I didn't say it. I just felt in this situation that I was not supported. She said, if you can't make it, maybe it's time for you to look for another job. I was like, well, I felt like this in this situation. Because seriously, I felt I was not supported in this kind of situations. It was not the only one. I had a lot of situations like this in that job. And I felt like I was in a prison. I was scared of making mistakes. I was scared of really taking my voice because it was like a vicious circle. Whatever I do, I'm not enough. So it was my interaction with my manager. And then there are also people's opinion as the second source of the fear. When we are born as children, we are enormously courage. We are self-confident. We want to explore the world. We are super brave, and we love the world. We love to jump. We love to run, and so on. But then we start to grow, and we start to listen that girls should smile, they should be obedient, boys shouldn't cry, and we shouldn't souse to adults. We should not speak with the authorities, and we should not show off, and that we should just be like others, that we should just adjust to the society. And this kind of harmful words, these harmful opinions, cause a huge disability in us to fight for what is really important, but also good for us, for ourselves, for myself, for yourself. And I didn't want to follow it. I didn't want to believe it. I was so frustrated with my situation, with my job, with all of those opinions that maybe you should just adjust, you should just, think that maybe it will just change. I didn't want to believe it. And if I believed it, I wouldn't stand here. So that is why one day I was eating a breakfast and I was already very sad and frustrated that I had to go to work just half an hour later. And I was sitting at the table, and my boyfriend said, what can you do about it? You are sad, maybe do something. And I said, I'm doing something, I'm complaining. And he said, yes, but maybe something different, like a list. I was like, okay, list with advantages and disadvantages about my workplace. I started with advantages. I put salary, people and experiences there. And salary, I thought about it as something that was a plus, but then I realized that every time I went to grocery, I could spend half of my salary on vegetables. So I crossed it out and put it on the disadvantages side with many other things. All of the things that I was unhappy about at my work. And you can see that there is no balance. I just wanted to see the list in a different way. I wanted to see more advantages rather than disadvantages. So I realized that's it. I printed the resignation notice and I was free because I did what I liked. However, I was also unemployed. So what can I do about it? I realized that I don't want just to be free. I wanted to be happy. And I think, even today, that liking what you do is happiness. So I analyzed the situation I was in, and I started to think, okay, I don't want to forget all of the experiences I had. I don't want just to think about them as something negative in my life. I wanted to learn from them. I wanted to treat them as teachers. I wanted them to shape me. And I made another list with what I was good at, what I liked, and what I didn't like, and where I wanted to be. And I realized that not only that I didn't want to do my job, I didn't want to be in that profession at all. So I started to think, what is good for me? And I started to come across this magical UX term. It was just invented in Poland. Nobody knew what it was about, and my family still don't know anything about it. But UX is about how things work and how people interact with the world through those things, how those things make them feel. And I wanted to be part of a place where I can shape, where I can improve, when I can co-create a better environment for other people. So I started to attend a very intense course, and it made me go to Warsaw for half a year, and every 3 weeks I had to just go for the classes that lasted the whole weekend. And soon I just started my first job. I started to get a lot of experience on every UX field. I started to work with the clients, users from across the world, with designers, developers from the whole world. It was amazing. And still, I felt I'm missing the final piece. And I thought, women, what is wrong with you? Why are you still unsatisfied? And I realized that it was a very, very simple thing: engagement. Because I wasn't hyped about what we did as the company. It was something, it was a product, but it wasn't a product that I really wanted to be part of. So I started to think, what really makes you crazy about? What are you passionate about? And one certain memory started to appear in my mind. Every time, or maybe not every time, but the first time I went to Warsaw to take that course that I told you about, I went there and I put my phone from my pocket to see where I was. So should I take off the train that I was traveling with? And I opened Google Maps and just to see where I was. And I was already almost in Warsaw, in Prague, and I saw this on my map: CD Projekt Red. And I was like, seriously? And why is it really important? Because I was crazy about the Witcher game. It was absolutely amazing for me. And I remember the times when I worked in Naples, in Italy, and I could spend hours talking with my friends about this game, also about the books by Andrzej Sapkowski. I was crazy about it. But okay, the second time I went to Warsaw and I put the phone from my pocket, I saw this. And I was like, really? And then the third time. And I think that it happened like 5 times. And I don't believe in coincidences. I felt like I believe in destiny, like The Witcher did, like The Witcher still does. And I wanted to connect it somehow. And then I was at some point, I was scrolling photos on my phone. And I remembered when I came across a photo that my mother sent me a few years back. It was a photo from Times Square, New York. It was a huge poster of The Witcher. It was just released, it was 2015, and my mother sent me this picture and she said, Anya, look, this is The Witcher, this is your favorite, beloved game. And she really remembered how much times I played this game with my boyfriend, how much time I spent reading those books. And, I felt so proud that I didn't see, but I got this photo and my mother saw the biggest poster in Times Square, the most important advertisement street in New York. And there was The Witcher, the biggest poster. I was so proud of it. And I didn't even do anything about this Witcher. So why am I proud? Because of, hype that I felt, and I started to connect the dots. So all of the train rides, this poster, and I felt, okay, The Witcher, CD Projekt. And I went online to LinkedIn or many, maybe different websites with the job offers, and it was there, the UX offer to CD Projekt. So I applied. And you know what? They denied. Because they were looking for UX designer for the games. And I was not experienced with games. I was the UX designer from the tools, from the processes, doing very different stuff. And they wrote me an email that it was lovely to see my application, but they cannot accept it. And next time they will look for somebody like me, they will give me a call. And how many times during your career you got this kind of email? I really didn't believe that they would contact me. So imagine my surprise when I got a call 3 days later from the recruitment man, and it was like, "Hi, Anya, it's Dan. I am from CD Projekt, and we are looking for a UX designer for our internal processes for the game developers and artists. Are you still interested? Because we are looking for somebody like you." And that's it. This is how I got to CD Projekt. I went through the whole process, and now I work on things that let game developers and game artists be more effective, more productive, with providing everything to create well-crafted game. And I focus on all the experiences that those people have, each tool they use, each processes they have, and also everything they miss in the process. So I focus on people working for the company. And why? Because in UX, it's not like we only have the final product, because our final product is the game, but these are people who stand behind it all. These are people who have their own needs and pains, frustrations, to make it happen, to make this final product. So I focus on those who are invisible in this top of the mountain that you can see above the surface. Below the surface. I work for those who are invisible, but who are crucial to make this product be even ever created. And that is how I'm in a place where I want to be, and where I really can say that I'm quite hyped about, and I got my final piece. Because there's my missing puzzle, engagement. And sometimes it's not easy. Because as I told you, this is like game production studio. So there are people who think in a very different way. It is about being technical and artistic at the same time. And these are people who are very, very different to what I knew before. All the experience I have them is different to what I knew before. So sometimes when I try to understand them and provide them something really like crucial and important for their work, I don't understand what they're talking to me. And then I have to process those information, so it's even harder. And that is why sometimes my face looks like this. However, when we finally get to the point when we understand each other, it's wonderful. It's a bless, because then we can make beautiful things together. And what I did after, when I got on board, and I'm already there for more than a year, I made my list, like I refreshed it. And you can see that this is the same list, but I moved most of my disadvantages to the left side. So it means that almost everything now turned from being monsters to my friends. Apart from the fact that I still work as the only person doing my stuff, because there are no other UX designers doing what I do. So I have to jungle, and I have to jump from many, many departments and many teams, but it's a great opportunity. And also now my manager gives me wonderful support. He gives me feedback. He gives me this feeling of being supported. And thanks to the atmosphere that we have, I can say that I'm really, really I'm open to get the feedback from others, because we just have always like kind of smile for each other and so on. So, but I still remember the process, and I still remember how much time it really costed to get here. And then I remember what I needed at the beginning, and what we all need at the very beginning when we start working somewhere. When we start, or when we work, it's support of people around us. It's how we feel with people. Those good people who can bring confidence on higher level, our confidence. Because when others believe in you, you start to believe in yourself, and you don't want to be surrounded by people who make you feel worthless. And you don't want to be this kind of people for others. This is what I know. Also giving like trainings and being a mentor, because this is what all of the juniors are scared about. And then the space to grow, because we have to have a space to make mistakes, to experiment, to find our happy place, to make sure that we are doing right things. And it would not be possible without the valuable feedback on what we could do, what we do like well, and where we could really improve ourselves. And then we all need to stay motivated and inspired, because thanks to it, we are really crazy about what we do. And talking about inspiration is something like I'm inspired by people around me every day, because of these initiatives like Dziewczyny w grze, for example. This is an initiative from my company for talented high school girls. It's the first mentorship and scholarship program for those people, for those girls, because there are only 24% of women in game development right now. And it's not like girls are worse at game development, but sometimes they are told that they are. For example, one of our mentees said that her teacher told her that I can develop games because my brain is just too different from a man's brain. And the goal of the program is to change the stereotype of a men's club. It's to inspire those young girls to follow their path, their potential, to believe in themselves, but also to equip them with very practical knowledge. So they can also be inspired by people who have simple passion for what they do. And one of the mentees said, for the first time, I see adults that are passionate about what they do. And this is a girl who lived in a small town, so she always was surrounded by people who complain about her, about their job. And now she can see something different. So it's not only for talented girls, this is our main focus, but then we also have mentors, people who get empowered and engaged thanks to being part of this program. Because thanks to the program, they see different perspectives. They can work on their hard and soft skills. And also, they can remember how it is to love something that they do for a lot of time. So it has wonderful effects, both for the mentees and mentors. And what I'm telling now, it's not any kind of advertisement. It's more like I can show you the perspectives that all of you can be part of this kind of programs. Think about it in your workspace, in your surrounding, that you can be part as the mentor and as the mentee. And who knows, maybe you also can be part of this program, because we also look for experts during the webinar experts, where people, not only from our company, but from other companies, just share their knowledge with girls that can do wonderful things. And so I just want to sum up with 4 statements. First, don't be like Grażyna. And don't wait for things to start happening. Just do it by yourself. Then reflect on your work and the process you've done and you still need to do. Don't be scared of making decisions and changes, because every change can bring you something positive. And most of all, celebrate each and every success and each and every act and movement you make on your career path, because it's super important. And we should not forget that we've done it by ourselves, that nobody really do it for us. And I would like to invite you to make a list, a simple list with where you are today. What do you like about your job? What makes you passionate about this job? And on the other side, what are you frustrated about? What irritates you in this job? And think of how you can turn those disadvantages, those minuses, and turn them to the friendly monsters or friends and make them advantages. And make it after some time. Iterate. Do this list after some time and see what changed. What process you made. And if you see that nothing changes, maybe it's information that you should think about the actions, reconsider those actions, or maybe it's time to move on. And if something changes, reflect on it and celebrate it. Celebrate your successes that you've done to come here where you want to be. Because it's like domino effect. Every change brings more changes. And if we change, we can create the future that we all want to be part of. And thanks to it, we don't have to be this like 85% of people that are dissatisfied, but just being happy with what we do. So, thank you very much.